Hello, Clive. Can you hear me? Okay, I have unmuted you. Can you hear me and see me now?
Thank you so much, Anne, and it's so lovely to be with all of you for what is one of my favorite aspects of the work that we do at within the Women and Gender constituency. As Anne said, my name is Bridget Burns. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm calling in from unceded Lenape land, or so-called Brooklyn, and the director of the Women's Environment and Development Organization. And not to take too much time away from the really important conversation that you're going to have with the award winners, I just wanted to share a few things about the Gender Just Climate Solutions and its origins, and really how critically important it is that we have this program to be uplifting and sharing what we have worked to create criteria around as gender just solutions. The real genesis around this was in 2014, when the Secretary General at the time was hosting the first ever climate summit. Something that's become quite regular now, I think, in spaces around working around climate change, is to host these summits or action-oriented events that really are about showcasing the actions of either cities, businesses, stakeholders, in making commitments to the climate challenge. And at the time in 2014, the Women and Gender constituency, which was a bit smaller than it is now, we've grown in size, scope, and I think power. We had really worked very hard to put together solutions that we saw happening across communities in our constituency, across regions, which were very impressive in terms of scale, providing solar cooperative energy solutions across 5,000 families that really had the emphasis to, or had the opportunity to be replicated, to be scaled, that were including gender balance in their leadership models, solutions that were based on agroecology. And the response that we got from, trying to showcase these solutions into this space was that these were too small and didn't really belong in this showcase of actions. And I think it really speaks to a larger normative challenge that we have that cuts across what do climate solutions look like, where does climate financing go and reach, what is invested in, what is deemed as scalable, and what does it mean to think about a diversity of scale when we're talking about solving this climate challenge. And so it's been critically important over the last 5 years that we have been able to bring together the Gender Just Climate Solutions, hosted each year, and highlight solutions that we frankly were concerned that wouldn't get showcased in any of the other spaces. And along the way, including with partnerships from the CTCN, and very strong recognition from our partners within the UNFCCC as well, I think we've seen a lot more attention and focus across climate finance mechanisms in understanding that these solutions need to be at the front and center of our climate action. And so it really guides our advocacy work as the Women and Gender constituency. You'll see a number of pictures here of how we bring both the practical policy agendas, the solutions, as well as very strong visions for climate justice into the climate change negotiations. And so with that, I'm gonna just pass back to my colleague, Anne. If you would like any more information about the Women and Gender constituency, I'm sure we can add links to that in the chat along the way, and would invite you all, if you're interested, to get involved in our work.
Thank you very much, Bridget, for these enlightening words and this warm welcoming to everybody. And it's really good to have the explanation on how these award-winning solutions and this award-winning ceremony and all of the program that we have built around it is centered into the work of the Women and Gender Constituency. Let me now give the floor to Kalyani Raj, who was one of the co-focal points of the Women and Gender Constituency just a few years ago. Kalyani, please, you're joining us from India. We listen to you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Anne, for inviting me to this celebration event. I feel truly privileged because, as Bridget also mentioned, what started 5 years ago just as an incentive to encourage women-led local climate solution has today resulted probably to a number of micro ventures initiated by women from small towns, rural areas in different parts of the world. It's been a wonderful journey, and the best part is all of us felt so involved in the annual event. It was really feeling, it was a sort of a festive mood around the event for last 5 years. WCF and the constituency have consistently maintained transparency and included members from different countries in the committee for decisions. My colleague and me have been part of the committee most of the year, and it's been an excellent learning forum for us too. Like analyzing the techniques of the project, understanding the challenges faced by the women, all has been such an eye opener actually for us. The number of entries also for the reward, I believe, have increased significantly over the years. All the solutions selected, as Anne mentioned, promote gender equality, support gender justice, address either regional mitigation or adaptation issues, aim towards providing enhanced livelihood security to women, and certainly have scope for scaling up, which is really great. I mean, that's what we are looking for. That's the purpose or aims and objectives. The awardees have been able to utilize the award amount to greater benefits and receive recognition of their project by local authorities. In fact, I think 3 years ago, I visited Indonesia and had the opportunity to see one of the project on sustainable water management, which I believe was awarded in 2016. Yakum unit, yes. So local women were managing the project there, and the coordinator told us that after they received the award, with their intervention, the authorities could bring in the water connection to the village. Before that, the woman had to climb up the nearby hill to fetch water from the lake, which used to be somewhere on the top, and they used to climb up and down twice or thrice in a week and try to store up as much possible the water. They were also running aquafina, fish culture, and few other water management projects, which was so interesting to see and learn from. A year ago during COP, I had the opportunity to interact with some of the previous year awardees from Vietnam, Cambodia, Cameroon, India, and it was so wonderful to listen to their experience. And they all seem to be doing amazingly well. Here, I would also like to add that the publication, which WCF, you all must have seen this, yeah, which the WCF and the constituency brings out every year, has also helped promote quite a few micro initiatives started by women. From AIWC, we have had number of initiatives included in the publication. And last year, a project from one of our branches, this one about afforestation, was included. And why I'm mentioning this is one of the groups from Germany noticed it and contacted our branch to know more about the project. That was a great encouragement for them and for us. So, once again, thanks for making me part of this event, and congratulations to WCF for being able to attain the objectives you set forth for initiating this award. And I wish all the awardees the very best, more success, and continued progress in future. And I'm very happy that I got involved in the whole process. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kalyani. It is really wonderful to see and hear that these awards have had a great impact, not only on our award winners' initiatives, but also generally for all organizations that have put forward a submission. I'm trying to speak a little bit slower to accommodate for our translators. For those who have just joined, recently we have interpretation into French and Spanish. So please use the menu bar with the little globe and you will find the language for your interpretation. And let me now give the floor to Mrs. Gina Cortez, who will present some of the extract of this year's publication and the collective achievement of our fantastic award winners. Gina, you have the floor.
Thanks, Anne. My name is Gina Cortez Valderrama, and my personal pronouns are she and her. And today I'm quite happy to present you and to celebrate with you all the multiple achievements that the Gender Just Climate Solutions have accomplished during these 5 years. In line with the 5th anniversary of the Paris Agreement and the stock taking that many countries are conducting in order to review their national determined contributions, this year we assess the impacts and the contributions from the awardees and their organizations towards an inclusive climate action. 15 award winners and 1 mention of honor of all around the world conform this group of awardees that reflect the diversity of our ecosystems, of our communities, but in particular of feasible solutions to achieve a just future for all. These awardees have been selected due to their promotion to women's democratic rights and participation while contributing to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular to SDG 5 on gender equality and SDG 13 in climate action. These initiatives do not only empower women and men in all their diversity, but they foster synergies and positive cascading effects to ensure food security, sustainable land management, health and well-being, decent work, and of course, economic growth. Throughout the year, we conducted an impact assessment that was based on surveys and also on interviews that facilitated the collection of gender disaggregated data. And with this gender disaggregated data, we would able to capture the transformative outcomes of each solution and its unique value. Each awardee has developed exemplary models based on care economy, solidarity economy, social entrepreneurship, and also local technologies that support an energy transition, as well as sustainable agricultural practices like agroforestry. All these different models, all these different practices together are making a difference not only in their local communities, but are also transforming their national policy framework by actively advocating and participating in the design and implementation of strategies, policies, and also programs. Among the general findings of the collective impact, we found in terms of climate change that the gender just climate solutions provide benefits due to the development of holistic models that promote the protection of biodiversity for a sustainable and inclusive development. According to the last special report on climate change and land that was released by the IPCC last year, the experts say in this report that empowering women in all their diversity, addressing land tenure rights, and the multiple barriers that women face for the participation in sustainable land management, resource management is crucial for climate change mitigation and adaptation. And all the range of achievements and concrete actions for the awardees make evidence on this point, on how to do it and on the benefits on doing so. In these projects, women's participation has been vital for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, increased use of renewable energy, but also to foster new and sustainable production and consumption habits. The incorporation of gender transformative activities in the adaptation and mitigation and strategies at all levels promotes the changes on power imbalances, and also on the rigid norms in their communities. This has enabled the access and control to different resources, decent employment, and equal participation of women and men in all the diversity in decision-making processes. So in this publication, you're going to be able to see how each awardee, how each organization is fostering new roles in leadership. The solutions have exhibited as well the success of programs that are based on a train of trainer concepts, where women are taking leadership roles for disseminating their acquired knowledge to further beneficiaries and to future generations. This is quite good because it is ensuring and strengthening a multiplying effect and an intergenerational effect in which adolescents, girls, and boys are also gaining from these activities. Among the main impacts in terms of gender related to gender, we found a positive change in the gender roles and in the gender norms among women and men, also an increased self-confidence, and quite important, an increase in the women's economic empowerment. This because the organizations created new jobs. Women and men were able to access to information and markets, and now they have more control over their own production and also over their own incomes. All award winners have demonstrated their ability to expand and to replicate these successful models thanks to strategic partnerships, and also because they have been proactively sharing their knowledge with other organizations that can benefit from their solutions. These solutions have been replicated with other groups of stakeholders, but also within other locations. The success of the Gender Just Climate Solution Awards and the mentoring program is reflected by the ability of most of the award winners to access to additional funding after they have received the award during the COP. For instance, 5 award winners were able to significantly upscale their activities thanks to this new funding. All of them have been also able to materialize this international recognition into concrete action. So this recognition is now really a concrete action that can boost the climate ambition in their own countries. With the mentoring program offered, the awardees have strengthened their management and advocacy capacity, and also they have acquired fundraising expertise. This year, the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted our economies and our social networks, exacerbating inequalities and injustices that are deeply embedded in our societies and also in our systems. But despite all the multiple challenges faced during this crisis, all the award winners are examples on how to implement fast and effective responses on the ground by strengthening social protection measures, hygiene measures, campaigns, among many other activities. Guided by the feminist principles, the awardees are contributing to ensure the well-being and the livelihoods of their communities. Each year, we invite all the award winners to a 2-3 days training session during the COPs. And in this opportunity, the awardees are able to raise their understanding on the UNFCCC processes, ongoing negotiations, and in particular on financial and technology mechanisms. This is a space in which the awardees are able to connect with the national delegates and showcase their solution for further collaborations. It is also a space to exchange for experience on project management, social entrepreneurship, innovation, identifying synergies in a multi-country level. During the year, we also keep close contact with the awardees via virtual conferences, email, surveys, in which we regularly inform about the UNFCCC meetings, negotiations, trainings, and also funding opportunities that can respond to the demands. The mentoring program led by WCF in collaboration with the CTCN and the Women and Gender Constituency has been a space to guide and support the awardees for keeping the momentum and thrive for a more ambitious climate action. So now I would like to give back the floor to my colleague Anne and to continue with the session.
Thank you very much, Gina. And I want to take this opportunity to respond to some of the questions we had in the chat. So if you do have questions, we hope that at the end of the presentation, we will have a few minutes. And otherwise, please send them via chat and we'll make our possible to answer these questions. I also want to take this opportunity to thank our partners, the CTCN and the French Development Agency and the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who have been supporting this program for several years now. And some of them are with us today, from what I believe. So now we want to introduce some of our award winners and ask them some questions. First award winners, Dorothée Lissenga from the Coalition des Femmes Leaders pour l'Environnement et le Développement Durable of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I have a question for Dorothée, and actually I think it will be her colleague Shushuna. Shushuna, you can maybe put on your camera already. My question to you, which have been the structural changes that your solution has accomplished until now? You have the floor.
Oui, merci beaucoup Anne pour la parole. Oui, notre projet a porté les changements, un changement où aujourd'hui les droits des femmes, les questions des droits forestiers et fonciers des femmes est reconnu et a bousculé et a changé maintenant la loi et la politique foncière au niveau pays qui reconnaissent maintenant les droits fondamentaux de la femme à la terre et à la forêt.
Chouchouna, je t'interromps. Mets ton micro un tout petit peu plus loin parce qu'on entend le souffle. Ça fait un peu trop de bruit dans le micro. Merci.
Ok, je disais ceci,
voilà.
Il y a un changement positif du côté de la reconnaissance des droits fonciers et forestiers des femmes dans notre pays. Aujourd'hui, nous avons la loi congolaise qui vient d'être changée tout en reconnaissant les droits fonciers et forestiers des femmes. Et où aujourd'hui, il y a 480 femmes qui sont formées, donc des formations des formatrices, et qui sont maintenant impliquées dans les organes et plus des décisions concernant la question de la gouvernance forestière et le changement climatique. Et nous avons aujourd'hui 7 femmes teneurs des droits fonciers, titulaires des droits fonciers, où avec une étendue de 1600, c'était à 2018 et 2020 aujourd'hui, on est arrivé au-delà des 1600 hectares déjà cartographiés et sécurisés, permettant maintenant à ces femmes de mener les activités pour amener leur contribution à la lutte contre les changements climatiques au niveau pays. Donc, c'est un projet qui est maintenant porté par le gouvernement aussi, qui nous encourageant d'aller dans le renforcement des capacités des femmes. Et ce projet qui a maintenant créé, donc augmenté le niveau de confiance à la femme, mais en tant qu'utilisatrice et puis utilisatrice et connaissent maintenant ses droits, ils ont augmenté aussi le pouvoir économique à la femme. Et il y a maintenant cette reconnaissance même au niveau de nos frères qui auparavant ignoraient les droits que possédait la femme à la terre. C'est le succès qu'aujourd'hui nous pouvons le dire à haute voix ici avec les partenaires. Ça.
Merci beaucoup, Shoshuna. Donc, effectivement, un succès exemplaire puisque non seulement ces droits sont transcrits dans la loi nationale, mais aussi à l'échelle locale dans le droit coutumier et que certaines femmes sont réellement propriétaires de leur terre et que votre projet, donc, aujourd'hui, il est inclus complètement dans la politique nationale et je crois que vous contribuez également à la révision de la politique climatique de la République du Congo.
Oui.
Let me now switch back to English so that I don't confuse our interpreters, and please excuse me. I turn to Fatou now. Fatou Ndoye from Senegal with the organization Enda Graf Sahel. And Fatou, can you please also explain to us which are the main achievements, the transformational structural changes that you have reached in your project? Fatou.
Merci, bonjour tout le monde. Au niveau du Sénégal, nous avons travaillé dans un projet dans le delta du Saloum, un projet qui visait vraiment à améliorer les initiatives des femmes dans le cadre de la préservation des écosystèmes dégradés. Et dans ce cadre, après le prix que nous avons obtenu, nous avons commencé à tester avec les femmes la mise en place de fourneaux améliorés avec un système de crédit, avec un système revolving. À travers donc ce premier système, nous avons eu 200 femmes qui aujourd'hui utilisent ces fourneaux qui ont vraiment des impacts sur les effets du changement climatique avec la réduction des effets du gaz à effet de serre à hauteur de 75% parce qu'elles utilisaient tout le temps le bois de chauffe. L'autre action aussi que nous voyons comme élément structurant, en tout cas à renforcer, c'est au sein des ménages. Nous avons aussi travaillé pour que la situation des femmes au sein des ménages les activités soient partagées au sein de la famille et à travers les outils genre que nous avons utilisés, notamment le budget-temps, le calendrier horloge-temps, etc. Nous avons eu à travailler sur une recherche-action qui a permis aux hommes non seulement de travail des femmes, mais surtout de s'impliquer dans certaines activités, notamment dans le domaine de la recherche d'énergie, la recherche d'eau, pour en tout cas minimiser les actions des femmes. Et surtout, et encore une fois, ces actions de recherche-action ont permis de réduire les violences faites au sein du ménage. L'autre aspect qui nous semble très important dans les changements structurels, c'est que les activités des femmes ont été spécifiquement limitées à la production et à la transformation des monnaies. Aujourd'hui, elles sont dans une logique de diversification des activités, mais non seulement des activités, mais aussi une diversification des sources de revenus à travers la mise en place de périmètres maraîchers qui permettent aux femmes justement d'avoir l'approche agroécologique, le développement de nombreuses micro et petites entreprises qui valorisent les ressources forestières, mais en même temps les ressources agricoles, et ceci aussi a un impact sur le développement économique territorial. Le troisième point sur lequel nous avons eu à travailler, c'est le budget. Bon, c'est tout ce qui touche quand même le plaidoyer des femmes avec un réseau qui a été mis en place depuis le nord du Sénégal jusqu'au sud. Et ce réseau travaille sur le plaidoyer à travers la reconnaissance des métiers des femmes dans le secteur de la transformation, la sensibilisation au niveau des budgets, la sensibilisation aussi au niveau de tout ce qui est problématique actuelle, notamment les enjeux liés aux licences de pêche, la sensibilisation des femmes sur la limitation de la migration clandestine. Je vous remercie.
Thank you so much, Fatou. And sorry to have to cut you a little bit, but we want to have the opportunity for everybody of our speakers. So some really incredible transformations in your project in Senegal, and also recognized by your government. Now let me turn to Jamila Idbourous from the Union of Feminine Cooperatives in the Argan region of Morocco, in the south of Morocco. You won the award in 2016, in the same year as Fatou. And Jamila, can you please tell us what type of development model you have developed, how this has delivered impact for your community, and also for a better and more inclusive climate action? Jamila?
Merci, merci Anne. Alors, notre projet de coopérative solaire féminine pour une économie locale et une économie durable, porté par la Fondation Fondation Mohamed VI pour la recherche et la recherche scientifique et la sauvegarde de l'art gaméré. Et notre organisation, l'UCFA, un travail qui a été initié depuis 2008 et qui a reçu un prix par WCF en 2016. Alors, ce projet contribue à la transition énergétique et à une économie locale et inclusive dans le Maroc, au milieu rural. Une chaîne de technologie solaire productive pour la transformation des aliments agricoles émergeant de la réserve de biosphère, la RBA, c'est la forêt de l'Arganier. Alors, basé sur le modèle coopératif inclusif. Là où 600 femmes rurales participent activement à la politique d'atténuation climatique de la région, en créant des emplois qui renforcent l'autonomisation économique et politique des femmes par la création des cuiseurs solaires, des séchoirs et des torréfacteurs. Alors, qui vont servir à diversifier, améliorer la qualité d'une large gamme de produits agricoles en réduisant les émissions de gaz à effet de serre, tout en renforçant la sécurité alimentaire de milliers d'habitants dans le territoire rural, souvent caractérisé dans notre région par un climat aride et semi-aride. Alors, la production locale de ces technologies solaires, ils ont créé de l'emploi pour les femmes dans une industrie dominée normalement par les hommes, ce qui permet d'émerger une émergence d'un nouveau secteur et un impact significatif sur l'atténuation des effets de nos zones rurales en général. Grâce à l'utilisation généralisée d'équipements solaires abordables et grâce aux compétences nouvelles acquises, là où les femmes qui travaillent dans ces coopératives productives sont habilitées à contrôler l'ensemble de la chaîne de valeur, aussi ça va permettre d'avoir des retombées économiques pour la population. Alors, ce qui génère des résultats, on a parlé de 600 femmes améliorant leurs compétences en matière de gestion et gouvernance et de stratégie de coopérative. Alors, nous avons maintenant 2 coopératives énergétiques féminines en développement durable et 40 techniciens maîtrisent les technologies solaires.
Très bien. Jamila, I'm so sorry, I have to cut you a little bit, but we see that this model is really extremely democratic in the sense that with a cooperative, these women are able to participate in the decisions of the enterprise. So congratulations on this incredible work. Let me now turn to Karen. Karen Dubois works for Funda Eco in Guatemala, and she has received the mention of honor in for the award, the Gender Just Climate Solution Awards last year in 2019. So to you, Karen, also, could you let us know what type of model, specific development model, you have developed that has delivered a transformative impact to your community and to your country's climate action? Karen, you have the floor.
Gracias, Ann. Nuestro modelo ha permitido generar espacios de formación basado en derechos sexuales y reproductivos, paralelo a la habilitación de una red de servicios de salud sexual y reproductiva en torno a las áreas protegidas que elabora la Fundación, formando básicamente progresivamente un liderazgo femenino que se va involucrando en el manejo de las áreas protegidas por medio de un programa de becas. Para mujeres y jóvenes y adolescentes buscamos un relevo generacional consciente de sus derechos sexuales y reproductivos. Atendiendo su necesidad inmediata en salud y educación, ellas tienen un espacio adicional para poder vincularse directamente en el manejo de las áreas protegidas. Gracias, Ana.
Karen, thank you so much. You've been so fast. I think for our translators, maybe a little bit a challenge, But I can say how impressed I am that you bring here the evidence that in order to include women fully and equally into climate action, we need to work on sexual and reproductive health and rights. And your project has really brought evidence to that. And let me congratulate you on the incredible impact that you have had, not only for these indigenous communities in the forest of Guatemala, but also for the entire climate policy of your country. Let me now turn to Clive. Clive Chibule, you work for Green Living Movement in Zambia, and you are the award winner of 2018, in Katowice. You were with us in Poland. You have also developed a very specific agroecological development model, very effective for climate adaptation. And I want to make a sort of transition with you between two questions. Describe for us this development model, but also all the challenges that you continue to face today. Please, Clive, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Basically, from the time we got the award, we've been working with women in issues of sustainable agriculture as a means of becoming resilient to the impact of climate shocks that comes with droughts and sometimes floods. And so basically we've empowered women understanding the system of agriculture that is environmentally friendly and at the same time guarantees them with food security, and not just food security, but also guarantees with them nutritious food that actually helps in reducing the high numbers of stunted growth among women, girls, and children. And so this is a model basically that embraces in terms of keeping healthy soils, ensuring good healthy for people, but also it's a model that actually encompasses well and marries well with the ecosystem, because remember the impact of climate change is as a result of the disturbance in the ecosystem. And so this is a farming system that the women have adopted, and it is eco-friendly and also with very less agricultural input that they are putting in, because remember, we are coming from a backlog of women that have challenges in finance access for them to improve their food security and their resilience to impact of climate change. So this model has actually guaranteed food security and including income security among the participating women. We've actually become now a role model in Zambia in terms of government recognizing the farming system, which is actually making reference in terms of policy advocacy, where the agroecology now we are advocating for it to be actually embraced in the agriculture policy and also in the national adaptation plans that the country is starting to develop. And so yeah, the challenge basically has been because of this farming system not recognized in their policies. So it's been very difficult to ensure funding from the government supported program. And that is why we're trying level-based now to advocate for this agriculture system to be employed and advocated for, so that it is enshrined in the agriculture policies and also in the national adaptation policies.
Thank you, Clive. So very impressive that this agroecological system, this very holistic approach, has been now integrated into the new climate policy of your country. And I think you are also participating in consultations for the revision of the NDC of your country. So congratulations to you. on this wonderful achievement. I would like now to give the floor to Sonita from Cameroon. Sonita Ambar, you work with Better Word Cameroon. And of course, we want to also see the reality. And we are confronted to a very hard and I would say even cruel reality at the moment. And so I would like you to tell us a little bit about the structural barriers that are still preventing you from achieving the full deployment of your initiatives and the full and equal rights and participation of women in all their diversities and actually all citizens in their diversity in your initiative, in your project. Please, Sonita.
Thank you so much, Anne, and I hope you can hear me very well. So yes, our initiative has been mainly on providing earthen woods, but also wood stoves for local communities and empowering women. And yeah, some of the structural barriers, one of the main thing has been war and conflict, and we can all agree that when violence steps into the doorway, climate change like just flies out through the window. So it's almost impossible to handle climate change in situations of conflict. And this has been one of the problems in Cameroon, where violence took over in a civil war in the southwestern part of the country, and for so many years now, it has been almost impossible to work, mainly because the communities have been under serious insecurity, and in such situation it's almost impossible to ensure inclusive climate action. Also, in our case, I can definitely say that there is very little trust in the capacity of women when it comes to technical or technological advancement or solutions. And so when we put technical solutions that women have developed and we put it in the world market with advanced technologies, it's almost seen like these local initiatives and technologies that have been developed by women cannot be competitive enough. And so there is a continuous struggle of showcasing that such a product, such a rocket stove, has great impact on the ground, on the lives of women, and on the lives of their families, on the life cycle of the environment, and how it's impacting in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Equally, there is a serious situation of power, and women are not given enough space. I'm talking about also traditional councils, I'm talking about municipalities and more women in council, and up to major government spaces. And this is mainly because, there's the excuse that the activities of women sometimes are limiting them from engaging fully in decision-making processes. And we therefore believe that designing technologies that enhance women or ensure that women can carry out their activities much faster with less energy, so that they can equally engage in international dialogue processes on climate change is very helpful. But they also need access to finance. And in the case where these technologies are not valued, and also they don't have the power to engage in such circles that ensure that they can advocate for these financial opportunities or finances to be channeled to local communities, it's again impossible for us to carry out such activities. So yeah, thank you so much, Anne. I think I hopefully expressed everything.
Perfect. I think, thank you so much, Sonita. I think what I recall from what you're saying is conflict is really a very strong barrier, but I see in your initiative that you contribute to peace, actually, in the fact that you bring together different communities, women from different communities who work together in these building workshops when they build together those improved stoves, and they build peace together in the same time. So It is really a wonderful initiative that you have. Yes, you are also impressive in the sense that almost everything you have done have been self-sufficient until now. This is also something very impressive about your initiative. Nevertheless, with a stronger financial support, you would be able to reach out to many more people. And you've had a little funding from the Scottish government, if I recall, to be able to duplicate your extraordinary model in Zambia through some trainings. So this is also very impressive. Let me now turn to our final speaker, Bertha. Bertha Firoro, you work with Gender CC in Southern Africa, and you have put in place also a very holistic, very innovative model of community resilience, community development, based on agroecology and many other techniques. Tell us a little bit about the challenges and the structural barriers that you are still facing in your project.
Thank you so much, Anne, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Whilst we are celebrating 5 years, it just seems like yesterday when we received this award, which actually put Gender CC and the work of the grassroots women and communities on the map and began to get the recognition of policy leaders in terms of the work that we were doing, in terms of ensuring that grassroots communities lead on gender just climate actions. In terms of the structural barriers, what we have continued to see is that in terms of what most of the communities have been implementing in the installation of the biogas digesters and the installation of solar panels and the climate smart agricultural produce that they've been putting together, the real barrier that they continue to face is that of market access and ensuring that they get the right machinery in order to be able to partake in the value chain. And whilst we did have a number of challenges, but we did have a number of advantages by being part of the WCF and the CTCN and the WGC mentoring workshops, which made us realize that women can actually lead in terms of unleashing their entrepreneurship. So that level of entrepreneurship, which was unleashed by just this award, led to the creation of more cooperatives that are leading other cooperatives in terms of training other women, and also in terms of upscaling the project itself to other provinces in South Africa, and also to be able to diversify in terms of the products that the women and the grassroots communities were actually producing in order for them to be able to break barriers in terms of market access and to ensure that they boost the whole idea of enhancing their income generating processes. At the end of the day, we ended up with cooperatives that are led by technology champions, but the real barrier is that of them competing mostly with a very male dominated structural system in which the small scale women producers and entrepreneurs are not able to break into that realm, which is dominated by large scale entrepreneurs. And because of that, this is something that we would like to ask and to still continue the mentoring that we would receive from the CTCN, as well as the WGC and also the WCF, to continue to be able to lead us, to share the experiences, the mentoring, so that we can continue to be able to upscale these solutions, our advocacy on climate actions to the level where they are supposed to be, so that the women actually take up the rightful place in driving gender just climate solutions and being technology champions that they're supposed to be. I'll thank you very much.
Berta, thank you so much. We really hear what you are saying. We need to change the system, basically, and this is what we say all the time in our advocacy. This is really a need. We want to work, we want to create new development models and new systems, and we need to work on that. And this is also the reason why we have put together a mentoring program, thanks to the support of the CTCN. And I want here to now give the floor to Mrs. Carina Kolbrun-Larsen. You are, Carina, you are Knowledge and Communications Manager at the CTCN. You are also the gender focal point. And can you please explain to us why the CTCN, alongside other very important donors, but you especially have helped us build together this mentoring program? Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Anne. The Climate Technology Center and Network, or CTCN, is part of the technology mechanism of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. And our mandate is really to support green technology development and implementation and upscaling at the request of countries as they seek to meet their climate change and sustainable development goals. We work in over 100 countries, and we provide assistance to really create more resilient and low carbon societies. We know that climate change action, including technology action, only achieves greater and more sustainable impact when we include all stakeholders in decision making. And therefore, the CTCN really places a high priority on incorporating gender throughout our services. And therefore, we've been so honored to collaborate with the Women and Gender Constituency and WECF over the last few years to support the Gender Just Climate Solutions program, and to engage with all the inspiring women and men who are implementing innovative projects around the world that make gender a really integral part of the climate change solution. Together, I feel that we've created a space for sharing of knowledge and for upscaling the initiatives. And as you've heard from all the speakers before, these initiatives have improved women's lives and livelihoods and supported climate change efforts. They've expanded networks, very important for knowledge exchange. And it really demonstrates how interlinked and how interdependent all of these issues are. And it's really thrilling to see, just as one aspect of the impact of the work that we've all been doing together, that 70% of the award winners have accessed additional funding based upon some of the work that we've done together in mentoring. I myself have seen participants from this program explaining their work to people from countries from far away, from their own home countries. And those listening said, this is the same problem that we're dealing with. You know, we want to know, how are you doing this? And that really shows the value of these initiatives that are developed at the community level, and that by helping to upscale them and generate awareness about them, they can really spread in terms of their impact. So I'm really happy to say that the CTCN has already committed to continuing to support the Gender Just Solutions program again next year, both financially and through our program work and collaboration. And I would just like to thank also the European Union for their support of our gender efforts as well. And I also wanted just to mention, while I have the chance, the CTCN has recently launched a new program called the Climate Innovation Accelerator that really is trying to support innovation, like many of these examples that we heard today, but coming from the perspective of climate change adaptation. And so we are offering now to provide assistance, many different kinds, for work that is focusing on adaptation, innovation. And they don't have to be totally new ideas. They can be adapting other ideas. They can be looking at how to upscale or finance different aspects. And it's open to many different types of applicants and covers a lot of different sectors, as you can see here, from agricultural to water management and sort of everything in between. You can read more about this new program on our website. The web address is here. And just to let you know, our first submission deadline is in January of next year, so it's coming up soon. So I would encourage you to have a look at the information there. And you can also get in contact with us by writing directly to the email address you see if you have any questions. And I would also like to just thank all of the speakers today for sharing their experiences with all of us. And I would encourage those of you who are joining us today to read more about the Gender Just Solutions on the womengenderclimate.org website. And for others, to consider supporting this type of program, because we have been privileged to be part of it and to really see the impact that it makes. And so I hope that you'll take the time to read a little bit more about it and to engage with all of us on this work. So I'll end it there, Anne, and just thank you for the time today.
Thank you very much, Karina, and thank you again for your support. I think you have exactly captured what we need to transform this system and to get to the type and the level of ambition that we really need for the next 10 years. We don't even have 10 years left, actually. So to read the publication, look for it. It will be released on the 12th December, the 5th anniversary of the Paris Agreement. And you will be able to find it on our website, the Women and Gender Constituency website, as well as the WECF website. And we will be announcing it on the social media. So let me thank again all our participants and speakers today. It has been a really tremendous event and sharing of experience, of expertise, of challenges. We are very happy that all of you had a connection good enough to tell us in person about your experience. And let me thank again all our partners, the CTCN, the French Development Agency, the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the support that they have granted to us over the years. And thank again the Women and Gender Constituency for having created this wonderful Gender Just Climate Solutions Awards and continuing to center it in its work. I think we need now to close. I'm sorry if there were any pressing questions that we were not able to answer, but we will take them via email and try to answer you in a separate channel. Thank you, everybody, and I wish you a wonderful day. Goodbye.